Birla Institute of Management Technology. Charles Darwin has laid down universal laws of perfect competition and survival of the fittest. Our business environment today presents the same challenges. Every student of business administration wants to know as to what are the most crucial and critical attributes that should be acquired and learned so as to enable them to swim across this ocean of business, even in the tides. So, a big question, and today we'll be having straight answers from our revered guest. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Sakate Khaitan, Senior Partner, Khaitan Legal Associates, a graduate from London Business School, an expert in the field of corporate mergers and acquisitions, employment, restructuring, and insurance practices. Mr. Khaitan is a stalwart in the field of legal and financial management. He is also the co-founder of India Business Forum at London Business School that builds awareness and facilitates discussions on cross-border investments. I welcome you, sir, at BIMTECH. You have been an alumnus of London Business School. We would like to know about your journey and your experiences at London Business School.
For me, London Business School was transformational. It was transformational in many ways because I'd never studied abroad. I'd never studied in an international school where the average IQ was so high. I was used to being in a position where if I spoke, nobody answered. And I was used to being in a homogeneous, congenial environment. So a lot of confrontation, a lot of growth happened in the school. And therefore, I remain in touch with the school and I continue to contribute. Now, what was that transformation? The first was, I realized that as far as the Indian education system is concerned, at least the way I was educated, what happens is that we are conformist. So we just give the answer.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, when I gave the answer in school, the first question was asked is why? And I never knew why.
Right.
So it made me think. It made me think as to come to the rationale of why I had achieved that conclusion. Now, why is that important? Because as a leader now that I lead various organizations,
Right.
there is no way that I can ask people to do things unless I can't explain why.
Absolutely.
And I find that in education here, even when I hear, when I deal with our people who graduated and come into the firm or into ECE, if I ask them why, they don't know. So that training is not given, right? Though I see that changing. The second, it was one of the most humbling experiences for me, where 50% of my grade was based on the group. And in the group, there were 7 of us, and there were 7 nationalities and 7 different backgrounds.
Wonderful.
I mean, the opening up of the mind, just with diverse views, is unbelievable.
Different perspectives.
Completely different perspectives. So a doctor would look at things in some way. I, as a lawyer, looked at it in a different way. As a techie, somebody looked at it in a different way. As a marketing person, in a different way. As a banker, a different way. As a mathematician, a different way. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then, as far as the school itself is concerned, it gave me the ability to do things that I wanted to do with full freedom and no interference. So I set up the India Business Forum, for example. At that point in time, the communication between UK and India was really not at a high where UK didn't know India.
Right.
The ability to use the school's platform to be able to do that and the school not saying anything, I had never experienced.
That's a wonderful initiative.
It's absolutely, completely new experience for me. And then just learning about how human behavior impacts organizations. I still remember, I'm still in touch with Randall, who told me after I graduated that, Sakate, you don't understand what you've learned in my course, but in 10 years' time, this is the course you will use the most. And he was spot on. We're human beings, without team and without understanding human beings, nothing can be done.
Right.
So I got a tremendous amount from school personally. And from a family perspective, Pratibha was able to do her chef's course, and she's now a professional chef and she runs a catering company. Karan was able to go to school and now he's graduated, moved away from home and is a marketing professional. So as a family, we really grew.
Taking independent decisions,
absolutely,
following dreams.
Absolutely. So the school is very close to my heart.
Thank you. Another question I have is, with the advancement in technology and advent of artificial intelligence, things have become very volatile today. And similarly, the management professionals are facing the challenges because of this volatility. So how do you see the future of management education and business schools in this volatile global environment?
So, anything that results in change results in volatility. I came in an era into the legal profession where we did things on telex. Then came fax, then
Right.
came mobile phones,
Right.
right? Then came Excel and Word, right? And I've gone through various changes and volatilities that gets. With AI, the volatility is significantly more because it for the first time impacts in a very broad basis white collar professionals.
Right.
So to my mind, it requires business school to retrain. It requires business schools to rethink curriculum. Because a lot of the things that humans through their brain power used to do now will be done by AI.
Absolutely.
And it requires a human to then interpret whether what has been coming out
Yeah.
really makes sense or not,
What is the output?
and then apply.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting one. I was talking to somebody who was very fearful of AI, and I said that the way I look at it is when I was doing commerce in India and we were doing statistics, the whole thing was to calculate the bell curve, the Z factor, and to apply the formula.
Right.
So the whole of BCom course took 2 years teaching us all of that.
Right.
When I went to London Business School, they did the entire thing in 2 hours because they used Excel. You
Yeah.
just put the input, it gave the output, and it was for me to then interpret whether that output was right or wrong.
Right.
And if it was wrong, then I need to see the input. To me, AI is no different.
So do you suggest that we need to incorporate some courses related to AI? We should incorporate that into our management courses?
So I don't believe that there is a requirement for us to incorporate a course to understand AI. I think there is a requirement for a course to use AI for a certain purpose and to interpret the results. Right? So, for example, if you're looking at a course in marketing and we're looking at impact that a certain advertisement would have on a focus group, is it possible to use generative AI to create the focus group and then test it with a human focus group?
Right.
And if as soon as the results start matching, then there is no reason for a human focus group. You use generative AI for that
Right.
purpose. Similarly, you can use generative AI in various other ways. So to give you an example, if I'm running a factory and I'm looking to put in line production, I can use generative AI to give me the best way of placing my machines to get the line production. I don't need somebody in operations to really look at designing that function and spending months on it to make sure that the operational flow is correct.
Exactly.
So to my mind, AI is a tool for higher productivity.
Right.
And because we haven't been trained to use that tool, there's a lot of fear. So business education needs to be moving towards training our students that are coming up to use the tool for their benefit.
Right. Yeah. So perhaps we need to incorporate the training modules
Absolutely.
in our curriculum.
Absolutely. And understanding the results.
Yeah. My last question to you, what are your expectations from management graduates as future managers? What are the most critical skills that you think that they need to acquire and learn to be future ready?
See, when we hire graduates from the top business schools, the business schools have already done our work. The IQ is very high.
Right.
I take for granted that the technical skills that are required for somebody to do a particular job is imparted by the business school. So my entire focus on a new hire from a business school is attitude. And attitude for me requires humility, a real hunger to learn, and a real hunger for excellence.
Wonderful.
And that's what I look at.
Skills can be learned, but attitude needs to be built.
It needs to be nurtured.
Innately.
It needs to be nurtured.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I think not everybody knows, but Lord Krishna also has another name, that is Sakate, and he resolved the dilemmas of Arjun in the battlefield, and I'm sure that with today's discourse, our students' dilemma would be resolved and they will move towards their karma and their victory.
You're too kind. I certainly don't think I'm at that level, but I do hope it helps.
Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
so much.